Coming up on Morning Drive on a major championship Sunday, we set up a chase for history for NG Chun at the Evian Championship in France. Plus, lots of help for you for your game. We take a look at the tee sheet. Matt Janella tells you where you should spend your golf dollar this fall and where you should not in this edition of Pass or Play. Plus, Matt Adams ends the mystery surrounding the bounce on wedges with important equipment information for your short game. And yes, Sunday Night Football heads to the Twin Cities. We have some Golf Now deals for you in Wisconsin and Minnesota. It's time to kick off on Morning Drive.
And good morning. Welcome inside Studio AP on this championship Sunday. Final major of the year in the women's game. Maybe you're playing for a championship. We're going to be with you for just 1 hour till 8 a.m. What are the big stories in golf right now? Well, I mentioned that major in NG Chun. She is trying to win her second major championship. Yes, and do it in the final one of the year at the Evian Championship. Meanwhile, Web.com Tour. Guys trying to get employment on the PGA Tour in 2016 and 17. Scott Stallings, a past champion on the PGA Tour. He's currently leading with Michael Thompson, who also has a win on the PGA Tour as they head into the final round of the Albertsons Boise Open. And finally, PGA Tour champions on the Monterey Peninsula. Kevin Sutherland has 4 second-place finishes on PGA Tour champions, still looking for that first victory, and he is leading going into that final round. Coverage later on today on Golf Channel. And it is raining at the Evian Championship. They are dealing with difficult conditions, a soggy golf course, and again, coverage follows us at 8 a.m. as NG Chun. She was a non-member of the LPGA last year when she won the U.S. Women's Open, looking to add a second major. As we take a look at the leaderboard, you can see she has built a 6-shot cushion right now over a trio of players. So she is in very good shape as she heads close to that inward 9. And with that, we welcome in senior writer at GolfChannel.com, Randall Mell, on this championship Sunday. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Gary. Good to be here.
You know, it's interesting how different players have different approaches to how they get it done. In the case of NG Chun, she actually uses facial expressions. Explain how her smile is good for her.
Yeah, Gary, I talked to her swing coach, Dr. Juan Park, last night, and he kind of surprised me. We were talking about her game and what impresses him most about her game, and he said her smile may be the most important part of her game. That took me back because she has such an elegant swing and game, but he said that it's something that they talk about, and Jerry Foltz on the air has talked about Juan Park creating this flow in her routine, this positive flow, and he said the smile is a very important part of this positive flow she creates, and it helps her also to connect meaningfully with fans, because there are some players who their inability to enjoy the moment becomes our inability to enjoy them. Her ability to enjoy the moment becomes our ability to enjoy watching her.
That's very interesting. And what she's doing, her score in relation to par, she has an opportunity to set an all-time scoring record. And when we look at who have, look at in this game, including our colleague Karen Stupples, Christy Kerr, Yanni Sen, Dottie Pepper, most under par in 72 holes, and she is on pace to shatter that mark. For something like that, if she does pull that off, and I do want to get back to her demeanor with you in a second here, if she does pull it off, is that a big part of this storyline?
Absolutely. I mean, we're talking about history here.
Yeah.
And we could go into, Evian and the challenge that course presents, and is it really a major championship challenge? But you know what? She's beating everyone and running away now in record fashion, and I think it is a big deal.
Yeah, with respect to the difficulty of the golf course, that can be said about Rory McIlroy and how soft Congressional was when he won that U.S. Open. The fact is, it's still major championship pressure.
Yeah, I don't want to take away from her performance at all, because it's been just fantastic.
The demeanor part, she really is interested in engaging with American fans, is she not?
She is. Dr. Juan Parker, swing coach, told me that throughout the year she's been carrying 2 cards in her back pocket. One is a yardage book, and the other is an English-Korean translation book. And he even said last night, I had posted one of our highlights after she made the eagle, and at the end of it, he goes, watch the last part of that highlight. You'll see her talking to herself. He said, you know what she's doing there? She's practicing her English, and you'll see her do that on the course. He said now she's kind of combined her yardage book. In the back of it, she has English on it, and her English has improved dramatically. I know there's still, when I read on the web, there's this element of readers who don't like to watch the Korean players. It's still there.
Right.
But, you know, I think that's a discredit to her and the effort that she's making to connect with American audiences. Her English has improved dramatically, and she does have a charisma and her presence, and by being able to speak English, it will really help.
And I think Lydia Ko speaks, you know, wonderful English, but her personality, I think, has ingratiated herself to the American fans, and I think that this can happen certainly with In-Ji Chun. Now, with respect to the Americans, you know how few wins Americans have on the LPGA this year. What is going on?
Yeah, it's an odd year, Gary, because the Americans won the international crown.
Right.
And there they were crowned as the best golfing nation. There's some irony there because, and then Brittany Lang, give her credit, she wins the most important event in women's golf. An American wins the U.S. Women's Open, but at the same time, Brittany and Lexi Thompson are the only Americans to have won this year. They're on pace for an epically bad year for the Americans, a historic worst. The Americans have never won fewer than 4 events. They've only won 2. People complain to me, why are you making a big deal of this? Well, if you go to the LPGA site, there's flags beside every player's name. Don't ask me to build the Solheim Cup if this doesn't matter.
No, it's true. Well, it's going to be fascinating to watch if she can, in fact, pull off history in the sense of this 72-hole scoring record. And again, 8 a.m. right here on Golf Channel. Randall, thank you as always. Senior writer, golfchannel.com. How about watching and learning from some of these best women, female players in the world? Well, Charlie Reimer, Paige McKenzie, good morning.
Good morning, Gary. Yeah, thank you very much. As golfers, we're very selfish. In-Ji Chun, she's setting records right now, but we're all wondering, how does that help us? Well, Paige has been very busy this morning. We're going to watch and learn. Paige, let's go out to number 5. You like the pre-shot right here.
Yeah, Randall mentioned how she's trying to get into a flow state. Well, a lot of that has to do with repetition, but first and foremost, you have to have a foundation. You have to be able to line yourself up correctly. And part of that takes place in her pre-shot routine where, go ahead and roll this, and you'll see she walks into the shot with her right hand, puts the club down first to line the club up first, and then sets the rest of her body. This is important because every single shot she does this. No matter if you choose to walk in with your left hand, right hand, put the club down first, line your body to that target, and do it the same way every single time. And maybe you can start hitting shots like that.
Boy, wasn't that cool? I love watching that pro tracer. Okay, the pre-shot, I got that. Now let's actually look at the golf swing. How can we play better golf from watching this golf swing, Paige?
Well, what I think about when I think about a golf swing is I like the center of the body rotating and everything else following. It almost reminds me of an amusement park ride.
Yeah.
With a chain swing where the center post is rotating and everything else is following. So have that visual in your mind as you watch her take this on the downswing. You'll see the center rotate and the arms are just following. This can really help in consistency in your golf swing if you can think of the big muscles, the center of your body rotating and just allowing your arms to follow.
The swirling dervish, that ride is.
Is that what that's called?
By the way, most players do the opposite of that, correct?
Correct. If you think about it, and you've seen this on the driving range, you get players get up to the top and just jump at it from the top down. If you think about the swirling dervish,
yes,
that would be like the chairs running into each other. You want to work from the center out.
Okay, In-Ji Chun has not had many lowlights this week. You found one. What can we learn from this situation? This was at number 9. She hits a bad shot here. You guys can go ahead and roll. She ended up making double bogey. What can we learn from this situation?
Well, the biggest thing is she got herself in trouble. And you could definitely see even the guy behind her is telling her 4 right. But she had a good sense of mind to be able to recover from this and had to take an unplayable lie, but she did a good job of evaluating her options. So when you are taking an unplayable lie, there's 3 options. 1, you can take stroke and distance and go back to your original location. The second one is where you take the point of which the ball is, the flag, and you can go back as far as you want with that point in line with the flag stick. And the third is to drop within 2 club lengths. Why this is important is she and her caddy had to really evaluate whether she was going to chip out into the fairway or take it all the way back.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I just wanted to think about, you know. So before we go back, this will be our 4th, or we go back there and play our 3rd. Which is going to be easier?
Caddy meant to say lying 3rd all the way back. But effectively, he was saying, if I chip out, that's the 4th shot and will be 170 yards to the green. Or we go back, play the 4th from here, go ahead and roll this. And this ended up being the correct choice. She was able to advance an additional 20 yards further than she would have had she chipped out. And I think really the lesson there is stay present in your focus on the next shot, not on the swirling of what I did wrong. And that way you can make a good decision that's best for your next shot.
No doubt. You got to have great situational awareness, especially in the big moments. Let me test Damon Hack's situational awareness here. I'm saying, Damon, this might come in handy for you. How many options for an unplayable eye, Damon?
2.
He wasn't paying attention. There you go. Yeah.
3.
You got to have better situational awareness than that, Damon.
Thanks, big timer. I'm terrible at math, but one thing I can tell you about is Pebble Beach. There's an important question to ask this morning. Speaking of math, is it worth the money? Should you pass or should you play? And from Pebble Beach to beef. Beef tips and beef cuts are coming up. Tips not from the USGA, but the USDA. And speaking of beef, what would happen if he ever played in a Ryder Cup?
Chaos. Man, I'd love it, man. I'd love it. I'd have loved to play this one in the States. I think it would have been really difficult for you guys. But yeah, I'd love to, man. And that's what you want to do. You know, you grow up watching it, and you want to be a part of things like that.